even this year, we started this year in the Clark County School District with vacancies in 800 spots, and the bulk of them were in special ed. And so while these issues existed long before this crisis, this pandemic has shined a light on the roots of inequality in our education system. And as we begin this legislative session in Carson City, I call on all of us to continue to fight for what I believe is the most important part of infrastructure in our communities, and that's our public education system. We can get safely back to the classroom, but we know that in order to do that, we need additional resources. And there is a lot of uncertainty out there. Our state budget has been devastated because of this pandemic. But I will tell you what I will promise to do. And that is that I will keep on fighting for public education in Washington. I will be a voice to make sure that public education is the national priority, that it becomes the national priority that it is. And I want you to know I am very proud to have just been appointed to the Appropriations Committee. Woo! That happens to be the committee that decides where we spend some money. And it's nice to have a voice in Nevada and also a public education champion on that committee to make sure that we are fighting for funding here. And by the way, we have this COVID relief package that will be passed, $1.9 trillion. It will get passed. And there will be additional funding for state and local governments and for our public education system. We need to continue work in transportation and infrastructure. And I say that because we talk about infrastructure so much, and it's always about roads and bridges and airports. But when you think about our classrooms and our schools that are crumbling, and rural broadband, and I just don't mean just rural communities, but deserts within our own urban communities. Those are all a significant part of a transportation and infrastructure package. And finally, workforce development and economic diversification. Every time we have a recession in this country, our state gets hit the worst because we rely on one industry, and that industry unfortunately happens to be the one that's been most devastated by this pandemic. But what do we do to change that? We cannot diversify our economy unless we have an educated workforce. And we don't have an educated workforce unless we invest in public education. And to me, that is the biggest fight we face moving forward. I just want to thank you all for continuing to be voices, for speaking up, for fighting for public education, for fighting for our students, for fighting for your colleagues. And know that you have an ally in me, and I will continue to do my part to fight for you as well. And so looking forward, I think that we have hope is on the horizon. I think it has been obviously such a trying year for so many people, but we know that the path to getting back to normal is getting kids in our classrooms. But we know that the only way we can do that is, one, to stop the spread of this pandemic, and two, to make sure that we make it as safe as possible for you and our students. So keep up the great work. Thank you all, and go Red for Ed.
Woo! Vicki Cardell, I'm president of NEA of Southern Nevada, and even as important is the fact that I'm a second grade teacher in Clark County School District. We're here today to demand that education is properly funded in Nevada. It's way past time for us to take care of our schools. Here in Southern Nevada, as we begin the return to buildings, the toll underfunding has taken on our schools is easily apparent. We know it's not safe to return to buildings because this state hasn't truly invested in education for a very long time. It's important that we remember our schools hold our future leaders. In them we have hope that our world will get better. The underfunding of public education touches every community, but it hurts our neighborhoods already suffering from poverty the most. If we made education a real priority, we could increase equity and opportunities for all of our children, and that's what I'm fighting for every time I put on a red shirt, for these children who don't have a voice. We are their voice. Thank you so much for being here today to fight with us.
During the culinary union, we have 60,000 members, but many of those people have families, and when we count in the families, we're talking about 200,000 people. So we support strong public education and teachers unions all together. We stand in solidarity with NSCA and your demands. We stood in solidarity with NSCA in 2017 and 2019 legislative sessions, and we will do so again in 2021. Yeah. Educators and raise new revenues. So we say to legislators, be brave, be bold, because our kids deserve it, our teachers unions deserve it, and Nevada deserves it.
Yes.
And the culinary union is ready to fight with you to make it happen throughout this session and beyond. Si se puede.
Sí se puede.
Si se puede.
Sí se puede.
Si se puede.
Sí se puede.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much. My name is Amanda Morgan. I'm the Executive Director of Educate Nevada Now. We're really happy to be co-sponsoring this event. NSCA and ESEA have been really great partners with us. We filed a lawsuit last year challenging the constitutionality of our public school system. A lot of our plaintiffs are actually educators, and so we're really, really excited to be here. You know, I could go on forever. You all already know what's wrong with our education system. We have the largest class sizes in the country. You just know it. You live it every single day, so I'm not going to go into that. But I just wanted to say thank you. This gives me a lot of hope to see you all out here. I look forward to seeing you all up at session, talking to your lawmakers, and making your voice heard. It's so, so important. So thank you so much.
Buenos dias. Hi, good morning.
Buenos dias.
Good afternoon now. It's a pleasure to be here. First of all, I want to say thank you. Thank you to all of our teachers that are here today. It's a holiday. And as usual, teachers are taking time from your own personal life to be here, not to be here just to be here, but always be there, you know, fighting for our education, fighting for our students. We can't thank you enough. And today we're rallying because we've been talking about funding education. I think it's a reflection of our own society. It is not up to our teachers to fund our education. It's not up to our teachers to be here today. It should be an entire community. Being 47 in the country is a reflection on us as a community. It's a reflection on our priorities. What do we expect in our future? How do we expect our economy to recover if we don't invest in education? Teachers have been essential workers before this pandemic, and we can't expect them to be essential workers if we don't give them the resources they deserve.
Thank you.
We continue to ask our teachers to do more than they should. Your job is to educate our children. Your job is not to be social workers. It's not to be our psychologists. It's not to put your life in the line for us. Again, that's a reflection on us as a community, as parents. I am a proud parent, a CCSD high school student. And I know it's been hard, but I would never expect any of our teachers to go back to a school if you don't feel safe. I would never expect our teachers to do more than you should, especially outside of your contract hours. We have an opportunity during this session to bring more revenue to fund our education. But it's time to put a permanent solution to the underfunding problems that we have in the state.
Woo!
It's time to tax the mines.
Yes.
But it's time to do it once and for all. We cannot take their pennies and donations. It has to be a permanent solution.
Yes.
And I want to tell our teachers, especially those teachers, all of the teachers, I want to say thank you. You know, gracias from the bottom of my heart, but especially those teachers that teach on our schools with the most immigrants and Latino students. I want to say thank you for being there for our students, because I know I have the pleasure, and I guess I was so excited I didn't introduce myself. I am the director of Familia Vota. We are a Latino immigrant, and we work with our allies to increase civic participation in the Latino community, to empower our Latino community. And many of you always open our doors to us to do voter registration, to help us register our students to vote. So I want to say thank you for that.
Being here today, we love you. My name is Annette Magnus, and I'm the executive director of Battleborn Progress. I come from a mother who is a office manager at an elementary school. She works with Miss Dolly. And I'm so proud to be here today to support her and to support all of you and all of the work you all do every single day. I went through the Clark County School District, so did Maria, and I'm proud of the education that I got. But I'm also disheartened because this is the same excuse we hear every single session, every single special session. And I gotta be real with you, I'm tired of it. I am so sick of hearing that we can't give our kids more funding and that we have to continue to balance the budget on the backs of our educators and our kids every single session.
Yep.
We're saying enough is enough. This session, we need to pass AJR 1. We need to tax mining.
Yes.
We need to make sure that we are making decisions that are good for educators, good for support staff, good for our kids, because it's not enough. This pandemic has shown us that all of these things just compound, and now we're here. And we're sending people like my mom who have pre-existing conditions back into a classroom or back into an office. And I gotta be real with you, even though she's vaccinated now, I'm scared to death. And I'm scared to death for every single one of you as well. And we can't keep asking you all to do more and more and more and risk your lives now for our kids with less. It just doesn't make any sense to me. And I find it disgusting. So I am calling on the governor. I am calling on the legislators. You have to do better.
Yeah.
You have a responsibility to our young people to do better. And if we can't tax the biggest corporations in this state, there is something wrong with you. And we will hold you accountable. So, this session, you better do the right thing. That's all I got to say. Thank you.
Yep.
Yes.
My name is Laura Martin. I'm the director of the Progressive Leadership Alliance in Nevada. We are a statewide social justice organization founded by Nevada activists, and NSCA has been a longtime member of PLAN. Ruben Murillo is on our board, and we are really proud to be here today. We saw some really hard cuts to the education system, and this is nothing new. It's very familiar. Every time our economy is in trouble, we try to balance it on the backs of teachers who already don't have enough resources. And why do we do that? Because our governor, the legislature, they want you to believe that Nevada is broke. Nevada is not broke. We are surrounded by wealth. We are surrounded by development, by mining, by so many things. And I know if our legislature can be creative and create fake blockchain cities, they can figure out how to fund our education.
Absolutely.
Again, we're asking them to tax the mines, an industry that makes $8 billion. They pay taxes, but they also get to deduct taxes that no other business in the state does. So they pocket billions of dollars. And who pays for that? Us. Every time a legislator asks you to sacrifice, asks you for a cut, know that they are asking you to do that in the name of protecting mining's profits.
Yep.
Do not let them get away with it.
Hallelujah.
We stand in solidarity with you all because our members have gone through the Clark County public school system. Our staff, our board, it is so important. Teachers aren't just the infrastructure. You are the real job creators for the state. You are the people educating future teachers, future leaders, and we need you all to have the resources that you need and to be as strong as you can possibly be. Our future depends on it. The next 7 generations of Nevadans depend on it. So you can always count Plan as an ally. We are going to tax the mines. We have to make sure that money made in Nevada stays in Nevada for Nevadans. So thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.